All right, we're going to talk about some ways that you can scale your ads if you're an e-commerce owner, if you own a software tool of any sort that you're trying to get signups for right now. This is useful for you as a paid ad manager or a paid ad runner. This is something that you could apply to your business today to change the way that you look at ads. So one of the things that a lot of people get wrong is, we're going to get right into it, by the way. None of these videos I'm going to make are going to be long intros and whatnot. So one of the main things that businesses need to do is start tracking their ad data. They're already spending money on ads. They have a significant amount of their budget allocated toward paid ads and just acquisition in general, and they have no idea where their customers are coming from to this day. They continue to spend on different ad platforms, or maybe just on Google. A lot of times when you're just starting your brand, you only need Google and maybe Meta to get your initial base of customers and really get some traction on paid ads. And if you already have customer data coming in, the biggest mistake you could be making is not tracking every single customer, attributing those customers to your conversions, whether they're sales or signups or leads, whatever your ad platform is being optimized for. You need to have a really good understanding of what customers are coming in and where they're coming in from. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So your D2C ads still stalling this quarter. You think Meta's dead. You see it on Twitter. People are saying Google search ads are dead. These platforms aren't dead. It's just going to be about how you're approaching them. Google has been profitable since the day they launched the search platform, and today there's still multi-million-dollar businesses spending and growing on these platforms. So nothing is dead. It's probably your offer. So before you start writing off your ad platform and shutting down your account, understand that there's a lot of factors being played into your ads converting. And we're going to be talking about more about the back end here. Once you have customers coming in and you have sales coming in, how are you supposed to be looking at, and the stepping stone from scaling your ads past 10, 20K a month to actually achieve a level of scale where you're realizing profit and you have a scalable business that's ready to move into new product lines. So that's where we're trying to get people to. If you're still trying to get off the ground and get a basic offer moving, then watch some of my other videos or just general knowledge out there to try to understand some basics around conversion. But then when you're at that later stage, this information is what matters. So retargeting, if you're not doing it already, low-hanging fruit, and you should be. When your ad data is being tracked to the maximum accuracy, then retargeting just becomes that much more efficient. You want to retarget people, of course. These are the most warm leads in your ad funnel by far. When you're looking at different segments, every day that you're sorting through your customers, your retargeting funnel needs to be probably top of mind after current customers. So current customers, obviously, you're constantly in touch with them and upselling them, and there's never going to be a customer better than a current customer. But then the next up, it's going to be retargeting people who have viewed your content, have been close to purchasing, or are just at that point of pushing the trigger on your product or conversion. And we're going to talk about a few things you can set up in 72 hours. And I consider these the fundamentals, the absolute bare minimum you should have if you're spending any significant amount of money that's going to affect your business on these ad platforms. And when I mean fundamentals, I'm talking about the back-end setup, not the targeting and your creatives. Those are important, but again, you should already have those nailed down at the point you're spending 10, 20,000 a month on ads. This is for people who are trying to scale past that. And if you're not converting on whatever you're selling right now, you need to rewind and shift your focus away from just tracking, and you need to really focus on what you're even selling. Your quality clicks are going to evaporate and your costs are going to skyrocket. If you haven't experienced this before, you probably need to actually do it a few times and really feel the pain of a failed ad set and an attempt to scale with information that you thought was complete, and you sort of scale your budgets you get to this point of all of your in-platform metrics skyrocketing, and you're probably either going to turn it off, cut the budgets fast, or end up in a position where you just don't want to be at. And this is really common, and most people aren't going to see the warning signs until they've felt it in that business a few times. And it's very clear what type of stuff is going to send your metrics awry. And if you're a smaller store, then it's really not worth rapid scaling ad budgets without absolute confirmation that you are going to receive the results that you were expecting to receive from that ad set. So how do you fix this? It's just about great data analytics. You have to have a good understanding of your customer base, and at any time, you need to be able to point to the breakdown of your product sales, breakdown of your customers from where they're coming from. These are all important metrics, and if you're not on top of it, you're going to be falling behind. So it's your job to get a good grasp on your data and visualize that before these platforms just let your budget bleed out. And that's really your number one job before any other type of scaling thoughts, and even fulfillment. I would say this is more important than fulfillment, because you can always scale your fulfillment operation and whatever, as long as your product isn't that complex, you can always scale your fulfillment operation. But if you try to scale a system without the proper, I would say, filters between the end result and capital you're investing in this, you're going to end up with leaky parts of this funnel everywhere. I mean, you're going to end up just losing money. So the first step is pull up your Google Analytics and look at the last 30 days. If you don't have broken down sources by traffic, you don't know who's coming from your Facebook and your Google, this is a huge problem. Second thing is spot obvious metrics that are outside of your acceptable thresholds within Google Ads. Look for sudden CPM spikes. This is an obvious sign something's wrong with your ad platform, and something might be wrong with your tracking. And use your historical performance to set benchmarks fast. This is not for new accounts, but when you have sales data and you have conversion data, use the historical performance to create benchmarks for the future. If you're making all of your ad decisions based off of just your sales goals and your forward projections, and you haven't broken down past conversion rate and simple conversion metrics within your ad platform, there's going to be a huge mismatch on what you project on your finance side and what you actually receive from the ad platform. So read every piece of data that you have on your ads in the last 2 years or year, whatever amount of operation your business has been in, and rethink the entire way you are viewing your customers. So are you missing any patterns in the types of customers you're seeing? Have you been failing to target the correct ages or locations based off of acceptable results? Have you neglected certain targeting because you didn't see that there's a sales pattern of some sort? And these are the questions you need to be asking on a daily basis to improve your business. So if you don't have a good understanding of your historical performance at every step of your funnel, and you don't have a way to track that, then you shouldn't have any business scaling your ads. You're still at the point where you don't have the fundamentals and you can't point to what's important. There's nothing that's a bigger killer to businesses than a lack of transparency into their own ads and their own results. So one simple way you can sort of use AI in 2025 in your ad platforms is using these third-party integrations for auto changes. Now, in every industry, we're seeing these sorts of tools come out and whatnot. I'm not saying this is the best or this is the most highly recommended by any means. I will make another in-depth breakdown video of RevealBot, but RevealBot's one of these platforms. It's relatively cheap. So $249 a month. I've tried it. It's solid. It makes the changes, but I can't recommend it. And by no means, I don't do affiliate links or anything like that. I'm just putting it out there so you guys can explore it if you want. I know they have a free trial. So if you want to just give it a shot, if you have a good understanding of your thresholds and you are not able to be on top of it every single hour of the day, literally, then you should implement a bot where you're making these checks on your behalf every hour. This is a very easy and straightforward implementation for you to stop overspending on ad sets outside of your threshold. And I'm going to keep saying it. If your thresholds and your data and platform is not good enough and not lining up to the actual traffic on your website, or the delivery of sales that the platform is giving you is not the same as what it says in platform, there's a lot of ways in which your data can be mismatched. And this platform, RevealBot, is going to be working off of your in-platform data to make decisions. And if those in-platform metrics aren't signaling the right things, then there's going to be a lot of problems. So this is an easy way to control your CPCs and help your ROAS. And if you are not implementing any AI solutions yet, this is a great way to get started. Again, this is not, I would say, the best, and I don't have a best one that's for automating changes in ads yet, but if I do, I'll recommend that. I'm still trying a bunch of different automations, but I always end up having to do custom scripts, and honestly, that's the only way you have to do it in your business eventually. You have to make all these changes based off of your custom conversion anyways, so you might as well customize your ad changes as well. But if you want an easy way to use automation, and I know that all the hype is around how can we make ads more automated and AI, this is a way to automate. So a couple more things that I want to leave off on that are very important, whether you're using the AI tools or scripts or you're making these changes manually. So earlier we were talking about how the best customers are people who've already bought from you or are current customers. Now, when you're doing retargeting campaigns, you absolutely need to target people who are highly likely to convert and are warm, and the creative that you need to be using needs to be that last touch point, almost reassuring their need or desire to have your product or service. So make sure your retargeting ads are as hyper-focused and are hitting as many segmented audiences as possible. Make sure you look at all of your purchases, and because you have such a good understanding on your customer data, you know exactly which group of customers are buying which product, and you can create a very hyper-targeted funnel specifically for that small pool of customers. You can look-alike them perhaps, and you just hammer your ads at a low budget right at these people. These are going to be the highest converting customers that you have in your business by far. Now, you may not have a lot because you may not even have a lot of website visitors or whatever you can get in this realm, absolutely take it. This is a good way to just chop 30% off of your current retargeting spend, break it down into 2-3 ad sets, really understand who you're targeting, and create a hyper-focused creative, create a hyper-focused CTA, and just see what happens. See the difference immediately. Split your retargeting up, and I would leave off on the fact that retargeting is still a lower volume, conversion method. It's not going to scale your business per se. It's definitely a way to get people to convert after they've seen and understand what your product or business is. But retargeting is the most powerful in terms of localized numbers and in-platform stats. So if you really want to optimize and pull in sales at a cheap CPC and a cheap CPA, it's going to look great on retargeting, but just keep in mind that's not going to look the same as your cost per action across your channels. So don't be a donor of Google or Meta. Just be smart with your spend and cut your budgets as fast as possible. Before you do any of this, being proactive means you have a good understanding of your data analytics and you have a good understanding of where your customers are coming from that you can point to on an individual customer level. which is so, so important. You can, not only do you know what the touch points of the customer are, you know the journey of the customer, you know the final source of the customer, and you know exactly which types of products they're the most likely to convert on. That's being proactive. So use your existing data as a secret weapon, test with RevealBot, give it a shot. It's a simple addition to your ad kit. And if your ROAS doesn't improve from adhering to your own set thresholds, then you're probably not using it right, because at the end of the day, ROAS is an in-platform metric, and likely if you're cutting CPCs and you're cutting ROASs that are too low very quickly, and you know your testing period well, then your ROAS should reflect a lot better in your ad platforms. All right, so if you're spending over $15,000 a month on ads between your platforms, then let us take a look at your ad platforms and we'll look at where we can slash budgets. We're going to see where you're spending a little bit too much. If you have your data tracking on point, fix that if we need to, and then from there, give you a few suggestions on how you can scale. If you want that for free, go to conversionwin.com. So appreciate